everyone. Welcome. 10 Minutes with Barb and Ron, and of course, a guest, Ron. No, Barb Gentili Green here. Nice to see you all.
Thought you forgot, Barb. Ron Rogers, the director of the UDL Center at OCALI. And for one time, I didn't say, "Hey, Barb," but I got it in there now. So Barb and I have a great guest today. He's basically a legend. He's been out there for so long working. This guy is, I've always looked up to him. I've always tried to, I can't even say it. I've liked all of his work. I've probably stolen some of his work, or borrowed some of his work. And he's just an incredible guy. And that's Mr. Chris. And I'll let you, he can give you his full name. I always that last part of it, I tend not to say it quite right. So I'm not even going to try. But Chris, it's all yours.
Barb and Ron, thank you so much for inviting me to be here today. So yes, my name is Chris Bugaj. The quick way to remember that, Ron, is like a happy ghost. Bugaj.
Oh, that's cool.
Isn't it like teachers sort of know, educators sort of know, like we have to have some sort of mnemonic or some sort of hook to help people remember content, and that's how you remember my last name. And so, let me give you a quick rundown on who I am and what I do. Yes, I've been around for a while, maybe a couple years. I've been doing stuff in the realm of speech language pathology that led me to assistive technology that led me to inclusive design and universal design. So my current job title is assistive technology specialist for Loudoun County Public Schools, which is in the Northern Virginia area. But I always tell people when I start my presentations, or even when I'm meeting with them, I'm like, I'm the assistive technology specialist, but that's not really my favored job title. It's just there's a specialist here in our district. So there's an assistive technology, there's a resource, there's a transition, and the list goes on of specialists. And so that's just my job title. How I think of myself is an inclusive design facilitator. Which I mean by that is I work with educators to help them design educational experiences that work for everybody. And often technology helps us do that. So that's the day job. And then outside that, I have the great fortune of doing a bunch of presentations. Like you said, Ron, I've been around for a while. So that gives, it means I've made some mistakes and I have made some friends, along the way. So I often get asked to go to different places. I've also had the great fortune to write a couple books. So the most recent two books is I have a solo venture called The New Assistive Tech, Make Learning Awesome for All, second edition. So I published that with ISTE, which is the International Society for Technology Education. But what it is really is when you hear that title, right, it's The New Assistive Tech, you think it's about assistive technology, and it certainly is. But when you open up that book and you look at the first chapter, it's really about designing educational experiences using technology. And it's a book meant for any educator that's interested in doing that, right? Clearly, we're talking about UDL today, and this is a book for everybody. And then the second book that is about a year old now is something that I partnered with three other educators on. So Beth Poss, Mike Murata, and Karen Janowski, and we wrote a book called Inclusive Learning 365, EdTech Strategies for Every Day of the Year. So Ron, you probably remember, because you and I go way back, but Barb, I don't know if you have seen these before.
The calendar.
That calendar, exactly. You knew exactly what I was going to say. Our school district used to do, so Barb, our school district used to put together, our AT team back in the day used to put together a calendar, much like a puppy of the day calendar or joke of the day calendar that you get at I'm really going to date myself here, a mall, like a kiosk in the mall. But people would go and then you'd rip off this. Well, so we did a strategy a day where you could rip it off and just read one resource that we had in our district, one way to use that resource, unknown thing. Oftentimes, OCALI was featured in, was in there. And in fact, didn't OCALI years ago actually make a calendar?
We did.
Took a derivative work sort of thing, which was like you took that inspiration and ran with it, which was like, yes, that's exactly what we wanted to happen. So whatever happened to those calendars is administration changed and it kind of priorities shifted, and then it evolved into me taking that to places outside, these other authors that are from different regions of the country, and saying, hey, let's create something on the same premise. It's one strategy a day. And when I went to ISTE, and we went to ISTE and said, hey, do you want to publish this book? They originally liked the calendar idea, but they're like, we don't make calendars, we make books. So we're like, all right, we'll make a book. And so you can pick up the book anytime. You don't have to start January 1st. You can pick it up anytime and read different strategies. So that's me in a nutshell. Oh, wait, I forgot one last thing. So Ron, you were a guest. We did a bumper once upon a time for the podcast that I did called the AT Tips Cast. Well, Yep, that was the name of the podcast. It's still out there. Like if you go back and find it on iTunes or whatever your pod catcher choice is, you can find it. But the thing is, it's years old. And about 6 years ago now, I was asked to be one of the founding members of the Talking with Tech podcast. And that evolved to be a podcast with me and someone named Rachel Madel. So, Barb, Rachel Madel is a private speech therapist that works out in the Los Angeles area. And then I'm a private schools. Well, I mean, my background speech, but then I work in assistive technology and universal design on the East Coast. And the podcast is all about AAC and how when you think about augmentative and alternative communication devices, you think of like a tier 3 support, only these individual kids that need them, get them. And we've been on a mission to change that and really teach people about augmentative communication and how they can bring it into inclusive experiences so that someday, maybe 5 years from now, we can just be like, yeah, kids with devices, they're frequently used in the classroom. More kids use them than ever. More teachers know how to implement them. It's not just something you do when the speech therapist comes down the hall. So yeah, so check out the Talking with Tech podcast. It's a podcast that airs weekly. Of course, it's free. The first 15 minutes of the episodes are about Rachel and I talking about some sort of experience, either something that's happened in our neck of the woods or someplace we've gone or a question that's been asked to us. So first 15 minutes, we call it a banter segment. And then the last 45 minutes of the episode is some sort of interview where we talk to parents, we talk to people who are implementing AAC, and then our favorite episodes, of course, are people where we interview people who actually use AAC. It's something we in presentations we do. We often say, how many people in the room have actually met somebody who uses AAC and they can say whatever they want to say, however they want to say it, which is like the ultimate goal, right? And very few hands go up, and it's like, well, you're the people meant to teach them. So if you don't even know, if you never met somebody that has that ability, who has learned to do that, then how are you going to learn it? Well, come listen to our podcast, because that's we're trying to amplify that. And there's more people today than ever before. The only other time will be tomorrow. Tomorrow there'll be more people than today that know how to use AAC. And so we've been doing this podcast. And again, Ron, Barb, you're getting to know me. Ron, you know me. We try and have fun. We're often goofing around, and there's an undercurrent of technology and inclusivity in that podcast as well.
Well,
wow.
you said a lot, let's break a little bit of this down real quick. And I can already tell we're going to have another video with you. So we're going to follow up with some of that. But I got to tell you, when I bought the book, I kind of messed up. Barb, when you buy his book, don't rip the pages out every day. Because it's not the calendar. See, I ruined my book, So, it's a great book. People should go out and definitely get your book. Definitely look at your website. Okay, Barb, I'm going to leave an opening for you here.
Well, yeah. One of the things that I was thinking about when you were talking is how you have universally designed, how you're getting the message out to others. So you have the simple day at a time strategy all the way to an hour-long podcast about a very specific topic. And I just love that you're trying every which way you can to get that message out about inclusive practices, aren't you?
Yeah, well, Barb, so something I adopted a long time ago is I call it the rule of 22. And what that is, again, learning from my mistakes. I would go out and I'd visit with classrooms, I'd visit with teachers, and they'd ask for assistance in some way. And then I would provide that assistance. And I'd come back, a month later, and they weren't using the awesome thing that I told them. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? I told you this awesome thing that you should be using. Why aren't you using it? And then I'd find that experience again and again and again and again. And I kept saying, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you implementing? Why? And then it finally dawned on me, there's nothing wrong with them. There's something wrong with me. If I'm the one I'm the common link here that I keep going and telling people what to do. And then it occurred to me, well, people don't really learn stuff or adopt stuff because someone else tells them to do it. They have to come to it themselves. So this rule of 22 that I've adopted is I have to put it on myself to show you 22 times or put it in front of you 22 times. And that's a lot of times. But if you think of it as microdosing, like, okay, if I put it in my email signature, or if I have a blog that you can subscribe to, or if I have a podcast that you can listen to, or if I stop by every once in a while, or if I have a friend that tells you. So I've talked to a friend that's going to tell you, and it wasn't me directly, but it came from me originally. You don't even know it came from me. But now I've put it in front of you 22 times. And it's really similar to, I think what maybe people can equate to is a new television show. Like someone says to you, oh, you really got to be watching this Game of Thrones. You don't run over and watch Game of Thrones. It's not until you've heard it a number of times, we really should be checking this show out. Everyone's talking about this show. Well, same idea when it comes to changing educational practice, implementing technology, providing multiple means of representation, expression, and the whole UDL gamut, right? It doesn't just happen. It takes time. And so I think of trying to provide it multiple times for people to get to make that change happen.
We've got like 10 seconds left. Okay.
Oh,
So
well,
Barb, you can hold on. You can finish your thought. Okay. I just want to thank Chris and tell him not to go anywhere when we stop, because we'll do another one. And we'll look at this law of 22, maybe just a hair bit more, and then move into something that's really, really people are wanting to know about. Go ahead, Barb, and Ron's out.
Well, I will wait until our next session because I want to dig deeper into something Chris said. So with that, Barb is out for this one.
Bye.
See you next time.
YouTube, please subscribe, like, comment, and share.